Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 64 of the Inventive Marketing Club. We're here every week to help you build a better marketing strategy. On this week, we've got our open club, and we're looking at website reviews for Holly and Frank. We'll dive into their companies a little bit later. And we're going to share, well, anything really that they need help with. I mean, I'm primarily going to focus on search optimization, tips, content ideas, and basically any way that I can help them getting more traffic to their website and more of the right customers. Because we often overrun on these, I'm just going to jump straight in. And we're going to start with Frank because you came onto the Zoom first this morning. Morning, Frank. How you doing?
Good morning. I'm great, thanks.
Cool. Can you tell me a little bit about your business, what you do, what you love, what you're doing, and maybe something, some interesting clients you've been working with?
So I'm a painter and decorator. I started this is going to be my third year on my own, and I'm still in development. So yeah, I'm looking to improve everything, either side of marketing or the labor side as well. No, not too much interesting at the moment.
So you're in your third year, is that right?
Yes.
Well done.
It's going to be my third year now.
Yeah, excellent. Because it's often difficult in those certainly the first year and the first few years to maintain enthusiasm, make sure you've got enough cash coming in. So great job for getting through that.
I'm really happy. I'm really happy with this as it going. So yeah.
Brilliant. So let's bring up your website. I'll share the screen. Now, your website is in development at the moment. So, I won't be too hard on it, but it's quite a good time to review the optimization of the website before it goes live, because you've got a website that is, you can still mold it, you can still change it. There's still lots you can do with the website. It's not easier to do it, but it's often you've still got that momentum while you're developing a website to go through and just make those tweaks and changes for search optimization. To be honest, at any point during the development, it's good to do it, but it's great nearing the end because you can use, when I'm doing search optimization for a client, there's various tools you can use to help identify what might improve the site. And once you've got a live site, you can start running those. Anyway, you're currently developing your site. This is where it stands at the moment. I know I don't know if you've seen the latest version because it's a little bit's changed recently, but can you just very briefly take me through what you're trying to achieve with this website? Why we've got some of these areas and content.
So obviously I would like to get more leads, more phone calls, getting busy and getting more bookings, and aiming it's for clients who's looking for good quality and not just a splash of paint all around.
Yeah. So they don't just want people coming in and just whacking the paint on. It's actually going to be a good quality job where it's going to last for a good period of time. Exactly. And I assume over the past 3 years or so, you're going to have lots of testimonials from people.
I do have quite a bit, yes.
Yeah, because that's always a really good.
Like to leave reviews, but with a little bit of push, you can get them.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you ask? Because sometimes people.
I always ask. But I'm never too pushy. I don't like to ask twice. Or
Yeah, some people are incredibly pushy, aren't they? They're like
I hate that.
Especially when you get those automatic email systems where it's constantly asking you for a review, it can get very frustrating.
Yeah,
so
I try
okay,
to be a bit more personalized with these questions, but no, I'm not pushy.
Do you just on testimonials? I often get a lot of people giving me a testimonial in person or when I'm next speaking to them, and they will say something nice about what I've done for them, which is really nice that they're telling me that. But I want them to write it down and put it somewhere that everyone can see it. If someone says, thank you very much for doing that, I really like the way you've done a great job tidying up and all that sort of thing. Do you then ask them and say, thank you very much for that? Can you note that? Would you mind sending that to me in an email or texting it to me? Or can I use what you said as a testimonial?
Yeah. As you said, so when I finish a job and they're thankful and everything, I try to bring it up. If you could leave this as a feedback on my website, that would be amazing. And it would help a lot,
Yeah, and I think it's good to be honest about that and say, look, you're helping me out. By you doing that and you taking the effort, it really helps me. You tell other people that I'm good. Brilliant. So the main aim is to get leads. So just looking at this is the homepage for the website. You've got a big request quote button on there, which is great. So for people who are returning, they've got somewhere that they can go, something they can do. Do you also want people to contact you by phone? Because some people might prefer that.
Yes.
So I wonder if it's worth having a request a quote button here, or call me on, and having that near that as well. Because I would prefer people send me an email or fill out a form, but some people just like to ring, just like to get on the phone and give you talk to you. And it may not be that they want to talk to you straight away, that they want to leave a message, but I think a lot of people want to feel that they've called you and now it's in your court to call them back. So that could be quite a useful thing to have.
Right. So yeah, that's right. Because anyway, it's not just a simple word that you want to give. It needs a bit more explanation. What would you like? Yeah, it might be better on the phone as well.
I think it depends on the person. There's some people who are more verbal and they prefer to communicate in that way, and some people who don't. So I think having that balance is good. Okay, so let's have a quick look around. So it's nice and bright and colourful. It obviously says you do painting and decorating, which is great. A lot of companies don't. They have a really nice image at the top, but it doesn't really say what they do. And I think sometimes you need to simply get across that this is what I do. This is how I can help you. So you do say painting and decorating. And you mentioned quality. You've obviously got the locations. It is Herefordshire you're based in as well. And then we've got this image of paintbrush here, which as well is quite simple in terms of understanding what's going on. I like that. Let's scroll down a bit here. So now we dive into some of the areas that we can see in the menu, different areas, just to say what you can cover. Get a quote box, that's nice. A little bit of information about you. It might be good. This information is great, talking a little bit more about your business, but it might be nice to split it up a little bit, maybe have some sort of small subtitles in there just to help people's eye dart around. So it could be, let's say, let's try and think of an example. I mean, that might be fine to leave it as it is, but it could be that you could just embolden this first part of it, the quality of workmanship. Just make that bold, and so it looks a little bit like a title. It's going to stand out more, or actually make it into a title. And maybe you could do that through. And the reason for that is when people are looking through the copy, it just helps draw their eye to things that are important to them, rather than having to read it, which people might go, I don't have time to read that now. I don't want to read that now. I mean, it doesn't take much. There's nothing wrong with the words. They're great. It's just you want to make sure that you've got the bits that are relevant to your customer standing out. It could also help from an SEO perspective if those words are relevant to what you're doing. So I often try and have titles on a website. So these heading level 2, heading level 1, sort of smaller titles on a page, they can be really useful for drawing someone's eye around the page, but also for search optimization as well. Okay, now we've got some examples, which is good. And I can click on those and make them bigger, a little bit bigger. I mean, I've got a smaller screen on here because I've made my screen using this setting in my browser like a sort of standard laptop size. So that's good. And we can see that's good. Is this a little drawing of how big it is?
This is when I go up measuring, and I couldn't find the original picture without the drawing, but
that's good though. God, what a difference. What a difference that makes. And I think this is really nice, people being able to see the difference between everything here. Some custom feedback. That's brilliant. Using Say Hello as well. I like it. Okay, great. So that's just your homepage. What do you think people are going to type in to find you? Or what are you hoping they might type into Google to actually find you online?
Painting, decorating.
Okay, so let's keep it simple. Just put painter, because that's they know they need a painter to do something. And what area? Shall we put Hereford? Because you said Herefordshire. So Paint Herefordshire. Now, obviously, you're not necessarily going to come up because this website isn't live, but let's see what else comes up for that. So Paint Herefordshire. It's interesting, actually. First of all, we get some results. This is new. You don't always see this, but you get some results from other companies like Yell, Checker Trade, and so on. So it might be good to make sure you're listed on those services if you can. I think Yell, you can probably get a free listing. I'm not sure about Checker Trade, but obviously people might go, oh, I know Yell. I'm going to go over to Yell and have a look there. So that could be a good thing to do. Certainly, if you can get listed on those directories, there's lots more here, and they're going to give you a free link. That's useful. Thompson Local, I know that one. What's this one here? People. Oh, I can't see it. It keeps diving off. There it is. Rated people. So in terms of getting more business, from an SEO perspective, it could be worth getting on those listings, but also they're just other avenues for people to go on to Checker Trade and get your services from there. So definitely worth checking those directory services out. Next, we have the local business or the map pack here. So we've got several different businesses: Decor, Martin Wade, TF Decorating. Now, what Google has done is it's looking for painters in Hereford, actually. Where are you based? What would you say your location is? Bromyard?
Bromyard, yeah. I'm right middle in the Worcester and Hereford. So.
Okay. So if we were to put Bromyard, you might have a chance of coming up. So this is always going to be a problem for you because there will be painters and decorators in Hereford. And so Google is going to prioritize those if people are looking for Hereford. In this bit, yeah. If we put Bromyard, it might be different. Have you got a Google business profile set up for your business already?
Yes.
You do. Okay, great. So it's worth making sure that the map pin is in the right place, because sometimes they're not. And it's worth making sure. In fact, can we have a look at it? It's box it. Not sure if you come up like that. Let's have a look. Did I spell that correctly?
No.
XIT. XIT, yeah.
Got it, great. So here you are, brilliant. Here's your profile. Painting and decorating, great. The thing is, sometimes I'd add a location to that as well, if possible, but it's just going to be far too long for you to add all the locations in there, and so I wouldn't. So that's good. You've got 10 Google reviews, which is brilliant. Get more of those, because that can help you get more visibility. I know. And the thing is, it depends on people whether they have a Google profile as well. If they don't have a Google login, they can't give you one.
Leave reviews, exactly.
Yeah. If that happens, so if someone says, I don't have a Google profile, you could say, well, do you mind leaving one on Facebook? Because chances are they will have a Facebook login then. And at least you're getting some review in a different platform. So that could be a way of doing it. Well, this is interesting. What does this mean? Service options, no online estimates, on-site services not available. That's interesting. So, okay, yes, you don't have an online estimate, but I'm not sure this on-site service is not available. You want to check that?
It should be, yeah. It should be. That should be.
Because that's what you do. You can't do it virtually.
No, to be fair, I neglected this side a little bit. So, knowing that I'm going to working on the new one, I just forgot it a little bit, and yeah.
It's easily done. I mean, I don't look at our Google business profile regularly. I probably look at it once a year, if that. In fact, Claire, you probably look at it more when we have when we need to consolidate our addresses. In fact, I need to stop moving addresses, because every time I move address, we need to change all of the addresses for everything. But I definitely recommend going into your Google business profile and making sure that everything's up to date. You've got all the possible categories that you can get, and that your first category is the main category that people can find you for. So I think that looks fine. Painter. And then have a look at this. Google has certain different product options or service options where you can say, you can add extra information. And for me, this is slightly confusing. So I'll try and sort that out. Are you actually open 24 hours a day?
I take calls, yeah. I don't mind.
Really? Oh, you're very good.
I'm not. If I need, I need. I wouldn't leave the phone hanging at 7 o'clock or 8, 9.
There's Yeah, so definitely have a look through that and make sure everything is up to date. Right, let's go back to this Paint Hereford. So let's have a look at this. So who's your competition when it's in normal organic SEO? Well, it's going to be these guys here. So Yell, Checkatrade. It's going to be difficult for you to get up past them. It might be possible in somewhere like Bromyard, perhaps, where there's less competition. But in Hereford, you know, Yell and Checkatrade are going to be at the top. So I would definitely make sure you are on those two directories. I don't know if you have to pay to be on Checkatrade, but
not to be on, but you pay for the leads. If you don't pay the leads, you know, you just don't get them, but you're on. It should be in.
But if you can get on there as a directory, that's great. Then who have we got? So this is your sort of first potential competitor. So you got Anson Decorators, and then you got Rated People, which is a bit like these other ones. Trust a Trader. So actually, Anson Decorators just shows that it's possible to push up
in between the big guys. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I recommend doing is having a look at their website. You know, if you want to compete, because you are competing against them for Google searches. You know, you might not be competing locally for word of mouth, but you're competing against them for Google searches. So it's definitely worth having a look at their website. You know, actually studying how many keywords they've got in here. So they've got decorators, professional decorators in Hereford. Well, they're not mentioning painting at all, interestingly. They do have it in the meta description here, which is this little summary you can add to every page. Should we have a quick look at the website? That's the other thing to do, is actually dive in and have a look at their website. Right, professional painter, service based in Hereford. So we've got quite a good keyword match for that. Very similar site. Oh, they've got quite a cool thing here, but that's not really going to affect Google. It's not got a huge amount on this page, actually. It's interesting. Let's have a look at their services, and that's actually going to their homepage. Anyway, I won't dwell on this, but it might be worth having a look at that particular website and seeing what they're doing well and what you can do better, because you'll be competing against them. So let's go back to your other website here. So actually, if we're competing for that keyword painting in Herefordshire, then it's all going to come, you know, you really want to have a dedicated page for that keyword. And that's great. That seems to be what you're doing here. So we've got this page, interior and exterior painting in Hereford and Worcester, painting services. I mean, a good thing you could do, although it's a lot of work, it might not be something you want to do now, is to have a page for all of the different locations that you work in. So you have like a service areas pages. And I mean, it's a bit of work to do, but it can be worth doing. But you have like an areas we work in section, and then you have painting in Hereford, painting in Bromyard, painting in Ledbury, and so on for different areas. And then you build up those pages to be very specific for that area. The reason I say it's a bit of work is you can't just copy and paste the text. Like, you can't take everything on this page and make it the same on all of those other pages, because Google will just ignore them. You need to make each of those pages not completely bespoke, but at least 50% of the text needs to be unique for that page. And so that's hard to do. A good way of doing it, though, is to get testimonials for those locations. So if it's a Bromyard based, then you can have different people. You know, you might have Lisa from Bromyard, or what's the other one near Bromyard? There might be some surrounding areas, but you'd have like Jack from Bromyard, or Sue from a different area, but they're all related to Bromyard. Or you have Ledbury, and then you have people coming from Ledbury on there. You might have different images from properties you've done in that particular area. And it could be a good second stage to what you're doing here in terms of building out those pages. But let's look at what you've got for the moment. So you've got a title here, interior and exterior painting services in Hereford and Worcester. Sure. interior painting, lots of painting there. That's good. So we're talking about painting. Are you mentioning the locations anywhere in here as well? We've got testimonial here. Is it possible, where does Eva live, or the town she lives in? Is it possible that you could put that location on there?
Yeah, can do.
I mean, it's definitely for individuals, it's worth checking, because obviously their addresses aren't public. You don't want to put the full address on there. But if they're happy just to put the town or some near locality, it's definitely worth putting on. Painting, yeah, you've got lots on painting, but I think you need more on area. Loads of examples there. Yeah, same with Caroline. Again, I don't know where Caroline lives, but you know, if she's in Herefordshire, that's great. FAQs can be a good way of adding in lots of extra content as well, particularly getting in your keywords of painting or related services. So it's good you've got those there. I know that Sehola, because we make it, doesn't actually output the location, but it should. It's something I need to update it to do, because that would be very handy to actually have the location on there. What else have we got? So that's really good. One thing that could be useful is to maybe have some of, you've got it here, but maybe actually listing some of the locations you work a bit more specifically, rather than just being county-wide. I think actually having, you know, an areas we work in page, or areas we cover page, and actually listing some of the main towns as well. You could put that under here. It could go on this side. And actually just going back to that, to adding your telephone number to the website, I think it would be really good to maybe put some contact details underneath the social icons or around the area. I tend to group them together myself. I like to, I kind of have, this is the communications, this is the comms area. You know, if you need to find us online or contact us, you have everything together. So you could have your logos here, then mobile number, and then you could even put a little button. So go back to one of your, let's go to the top here. Here we are, a call to action button. These lead buttons, you could have something like that in the bottom as well. But the key thing is getting location on there a lot more. Because you're a business, you do have to put your address on, or at least actually, are you limited or a sole trader?
No, I'm just a sole trader.
Okay, so
at the moment.
You might want to check on what the legal requirements are, but it might be still worth putting your address on there, even if you don't put the house name, you put the street or the town, because that's another way of getting the locality of Herefordshire and Worcestershire in there. So that could be worth doing. I also think it's nice that people see you're local, that you're not, because there are a lot of big firms that pretend they're local and they're not. So I think it's important to do that, because a lot of them will create these really hyper localized landing pages and almost trick people into thinking, oh, it's a local company, and they are not. And in some cases, it's even worse. They don't have any painters and decorators on staff. They will just call up someone local to get them to do the job for them. In fact, I was at a garage the other day, and he was complaining about one of these sort of portal companies that go in and people are all, they want a car service or something like that. So they'll type in car service Dauncey, where I am. And then they'll scurry around and find a local mechanic, ring them up and say, can you do this for this price? And he hates that sort of thing. But, you know, so it's definitely worth, for people who are looking for local, someone local, putting it on there, because that makes a difference. Something else I was going to do or recommend. Now, let me just check. I'm just going to have a dive behind the website and have a look behind the scenes, just to make sure it's sort of set out correctly. Because with search optimization, you want to make sure the keywords are put into, certainly on a page, into titles on the page. And it looks like you've done that properly. So that's a H1, that's good. It's H2. Yeah, so they all look lined up properly. Brilliant. And I'm just going to check your title as well. Okay, so that's an area you could possibly put in location as well, into this title area. I'm not sure if you're using Yoast on here, but if you aren't, this is a WordPress site. But if you use a plugin called Yoast, it enables you to add in additional information for search engine optimization, like customizing titles. And one of the things I'd add in there is make sure you've got keywords painting and location. And so you've got painting in there, but not location. And I think with this, because it's a sub page, you could put something like interior and exterior painting hyphen Herefordshire and Worcester hyphen Boxit. And that's it. You can probably leave out the painter and decorator for this particular page. Okay, cool. Something that is really useful for SEO is to make sure your website isn't too optimized down a particular keyword, just using painting. Now, I haven't read all of yours, so I don't know if that's the case, but there's a really good tool, which I'm going to run it through, called Text Optimizer. And this tells us a few different things. So, and this is free. Anyone can use this. You just go along and pop in your website. And actually, it's pretty good. So what this does, several things. It gives you this overall score. Now, I don't know how they make up the score, to be fair. So it doesn't really matter what that number is from an SEO perspective, but it's nice to say, actually, you're doing pretty well. So even before the website's launched, you've got a score of fair. And that's good, Frank, because a lot of websites I have a look at, this normally says poor, and they've got a very low percentage there. So you're off to a really good start. Yeah, it's a good start. But what this does, the two things I like about it is it tells us on the right-hand side here what topics your website falls into. And so the first one is exterior painting services. The next one, professional painters and commercial painting. Well, that's perfect. You're actually falling into the right buckets. I mean, it probably has another one for interior painting. I don't know. There are loads of these different types of topics. I can't actually remember where they come from. There is like a central source of these topics. But what we know is from a search engine's perspective, your page is falling into the right buckets, so to speak. The other thing it does is it gives us loads of additional words we can add onto the page as well. So you've got plural, painters, painting contractors, house painting, painting company. So you've got loads of different words that would be great to either swap into the words, the paragraphs of text you've got there already, or add even more to the page. So I don't know what would work here. It could be, let's go back to your website. It could be, if it's possible, you've got your portfolio here, to put captions on these images. And that's where you can get and that's where you can start using some of these words like residential painting. Because all of these words are topically relevant to painting. And what it shows Google is that your page is interesting. You know, you're not just over-optimized for painting. You've got very interesting text because it's really talking around the subject. So your page should be good. So that is definitely a service I'd recommend. And as I said, it's free. I've never had to pay anything for it. I mean, I use a different tool mainly for this particular job, but whenever I show people this tool, I'm never blocked from using it at all. It's brilliant. You can sign up as well, and I think it gives you a little bit more information, but the free version is brilliant. And what I recommend you do is, I don't know if you've got any further tweaks before it goes live, but run each of your pages through that and make sure that from a search engine perspective, you're falling in the right buckets, and also you're using the right words, and see if you can use any more words on there. Let's see. So I'm just going to, if we click on this, okay, so they all go there. So I think, just adding your telephone number would be useful as well. Certainly if you're available most of the time, having the phone number on there would be quite handy for people. And we'll just finish up with the news page. So having a look at the news page, I often think, I think it's a really good idea to have additional content from your main pages that you want to rank for, because you can capture, it's really useful for lots of reasons. I like having it because I can put lots of blog information out there which helps answer questions. So if I'm talking to a client on the phone, I can say, I've got an answer to your question. I've written a blog post about it or done a video. I'll send you a link. And so that saves me a lot of explaining to do. It saves the client, time listening to me. They've got that resource to look at later, but also it's available on the web. So if someone is searching for that particular question or looking at a comparison between something, you've got a chance of coming up. So let's have a look at what you've got here. The benefits of airless paint spraying. That's possible. Someone might search for that. Using wallpaper to transform a space. So that could be quite good. Let's have a look at this. Yeah, make bathrooms less boring. I don't know. I don't spend a huge amount of time in my bathroom, so it doesn't matter. But so one thing I would either look to do with these or maybe future blog posts is I'd write them regularly. So have interesting stuff written regularly. Could be case studies as well. Could be like clients, jobs you're working on at the moment. I think that's interesting for people to see. But the other thing to focus on is questions. So try and find questions that people are asking about your particular area, like painting. So maybe if they're doing exterior paint, it's like, well, how do I get a paint that's going to last? How long does exterior paint last? Is it 5 years, 10 years, 25 years? Maybe that's going to depend on the quality of paint you use, how many layers you apply. I don't know. I mean, you would know the answers to these, but I would try and think of questions that your clients ask you that you can get content made for your website that answer them. And that's going to be good for your search optimization because your website's looking really helpful to people, to Google. So it's got more potential to recommend you in move you up the search rankings. And it could be really useful for clients because if they're not sure about using one particular paint over another, and you're saying, well, okay, I've written something about it, or I've got a video demonstrating how it works, that might help. Sort of change your mind or move them over. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I know it can be quite a bit of work, but if you do it steadily and regularly, maybe focus on doing something once a week if you can, or once a month, just doing a small one article, putting it live and making sure it's linked through to a relevant page. So if you're talking about wallpaper, you want to make sure that links through to the wallpapering page. That can start to make your website so much better than everyone else's. And I would imagine that many trades like yours, their websites do not have much on them at all. They're probably pretty slim on information. So I think if you can have a website that's 10 times better than theirs, you've got a good chance of coming up higher than them in search results. So I'll finish up by saying one last thing. Because this website isn't live, you're not really going to come up for any keywords at all. But I would launch it, give it a couple of weeks until Google has scanned it, and then find out what keyword position you are for painter Herefordshire, painter Worcestershire, decorator Herefordshire, and so on. A couple of keywords like that. Find out what position you are, and then look at that each month. And hopefully, I think your website's pretty good to start off with, and you should see that it climbs. But you need to know where you start from. And then if it climbs, it's great. Something you can look at and go, I can see the investment of time and money and effort is worth it. And then as you're writing new blog articles or as you're using text optimizer to improve the website, you should hopefully see that go up as well. I think that's all I've got for the moment. I mean, there's so much you can talk about, but have you got any questions, Frank? Anything I've talked about?
No, I think you've pretty much explained everything. I mean, I just go with you guys. You know this better than me.
I think what I like about your site is it's quite vibrant and interesting and different. I think there's lots of text, and the only concern I have is just maybe splitting it apart a little bit, and so it doesn't look like lots of text. Definitely keep the lots of text, but just split it apart a little bit. But it looks so much more interesting than there's so many trade websites I've seen that are just so simple, bland, boring websites. they're functional. They're put up because people feel they have to have a website, rather than actually saying, well, if we're going to have one, let's make it really good.
Make it useful.
Yeah, because you want clients to see it. You want to be proud of this and say, this is my office. So yeah, good luck getting this live, and I think it's going to be great. I think it's certainly off to a good start. So Frank, you can rest now. You can sit in the back, and we'll have a look at Holly's website and see what's going on there. Holly, shall we move over to yours?
Yeah, sure. Thanks.
So first, welcome, Holly. Do you want to tell everyone a little bit more about what you do?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm an artist in Bristol, primarily a watercolorist, creating illustrations and informative artworks that connect people with nature and seasonal living.
Cool. So let's have a look at some of your works here. Would it be offerings? Is that what I do?
Yeah, that would be great.
And what? So is it right? Okay, we're loading it. So what inspired these? Well, how did you start doing this?
I think it's one of those things that I've always done, but like rather than an intentional movement towards it. But yeah, painting I've done for like 15, 20 years really. And my business has been sort of more focused in the last 3 years, and I've gone full-time in the last 5 months.
Wow. It's been going well?
Yeah, it's been going, which is, yeah, the most important bit. And it's, yeah, It's been a bit of a leap, but a good one.
Okay, so talk to me about some of these products. So you've got these, I know, because when you came to a workshop, was it Growth Herbal Core Ventures workshop? I can't remember which one it was.
It was quite a few months back, so I can't remember the name of it either. But it was very good. It was developing a website.
That's right.
Leads on that, yeah.
So I know a little bit about your products, but I want to find one as an example, because you've got the sort of it.
Yeah.
It's let's find the period one you were talking about, because it's all like the foods and things to eat to maintain that over a cycle. Where would I find those products? Am I in the right place?
On my shop would be the best place. Yeah.
Shop. Am I missing? I'm missing your shop completely there. Right. Where was that one? So
there you go. It's on the right.
Yeah, I got it. So let's start with that. That's it. So we can have a big picture of it. There we go. Right. So I thought this was great.
Thanks.
So talk us through this, how this would work, why someone will get this, would buy this product.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, it's based on hormonal nutrition. So this is a natural way to eliminate or monitor any symptoms, any unwarranted symptoms that one might have or usually does have in the menstrual cycle. And the menstrual cycle is it has 4 parts to it. They're not quarters directly, because everyone's menstrual cycle is completely different. But what we're educated around is menstruation and potentially ovulation, but we're not educated around follicular and luteal, which are the other sides. And what's an interesting parallel with the world around us is that it actually falls into 4 seasons. So if you can see, you've got follicular top right, and that's also known as one's spring, and the colors are quite spring-like. And then you move into summer and ovulation, where one might be feeling at their height of energy. And then luteal is the autumn, you get all the squashes and everything. And then winter is menstruation, when you're wintering yourself. And that's where all those iron-rich colors come in.
Right. Okay. And so these are recommended foods and seeds and nuts that you would eat during those to help boost you, because it's quite a big, it's a big cycle that goes on in the body. Do you do one of these for men as well? Because men, have obviously different, but there is still cycles that we go through. And certainly there are periods when I need a little bit more energy, and it could be to do with, a various cycle you're going through. I think it could be quite interesting.
Nice.
So you also do one on companion planting, which I like. I think Claire, you might like this too as well. Let me see if I can find it. So this, if we go up, herbs, my favorite. Bring that up. So talk us through this one, because I thought this was very interesting about how this might work.
Yeah. So when you're planting or growing, There's a planting technique called companion planting, which is essentially when you plant things alongside one another, they can benefit the growth. So there's sort of 4 categories with companion planting: neutralizing the right pH in the soil, enhancing flavor, and attracting pests or welcoming wildlife. So if you can see each of the herbs, they sort of have their names underneath: coriander, thyme, mint. And then I've annotated the vegetables that should be grown with them on the little leaves.
Yeah, so coriander, you've got, is it beans, lettuce, and peas?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how would someone use one of these? So I mean, they're nice illustrations in and of themselves. So if people just want art, it's it's very nice to hang in a kitchen, I guess, or something like that. But where do you get any feedback from customers to how they use them? What's the the intention behind them? Where people hang them?
Yeah, I get a lot of kitchens. Or hallways. If you've got that lovely, if you're lucky enough to have a garden and that entranceway sort of before you walk in, which is often the kitchen as well.
Yeah.
But I think most of my audience, it's probably 60-40 gifts to keeping it to themselves, and that's where you do lose a little bit of the reviews. But yeah, that sort of thing.
Do you send anything out with the products to ask people for feedback?
I do if it's online, but one of the places I sell is also Etsy, which does an automatic review system. So mainly I get my reviews from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, so let's go back to the homepage. Thanks for sharing that. I think it's interesting. Oh, I've got to click on home. That's interesting. So often I'm very much used to clicking on a logo to go back home, and I can't.
Fair enough. Mm-hmm.
What is your website built in?
Wix.
Oh, that's interesting. I thought they had most of the web builders would default to that. Okay.
Yeah.
If you can set it to do that, I would do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's no problem.
Right. So you wanted to focus on the offerings page. I think that's right, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So tell me about what you what your goals are for this this page, what it's not doing, what you want it to do, what you want to be found for, or what keywords you want to be found for.
Yeah, it's interesting looking at Frank's website, because what you've done is something that I questioned doing, which is like putting out all of your services. I do that because I'm not sure mine are services as such, painting and decorating, spray painting and all that. Whereas because mine are growing because I'm trying to diversify my offerings, that's why I'm keeping them under a subheading. But on a technical note, I've sort of, if you hover over offerings, Ben, it sort of has all those, all of the listings, but they're on anchors rather than, so if you click any one of them a bit lower down, it sort of zips.
We move down the page.
Which I quite like, and I heard that the animations are what stimulates the viewers, so that's why I wanted that. But you can't link it directly. So if somebody asks me about commissions, I have to link my offerings page and hope they find it. Or if they want to know about collaborations, I link my, if you can do something fancy, that'd be great.
You might be able to. That's what I'm thinking when you say that you can't. I mean, if they've done it correctly, you would be able to do it. I'm just trying to find.
I've built it all myself, so it's most likely not correct.
Well, let's have a quick look. So if we look at the section markets, what I'm looking for is an ID tag, that you want a unique ID tag like that. Because if I take that ID tag, I'm assuming it's unique. I should be able to put it into the top here.
Okay.
As that. And it should link people through to it, but it depends on how the website works.
Okay.
That did work. It's actually got rid of it, but it has done that. Let's just quickly find another one, like workshops and events. Now I've lost. Let's go back to this. Yes, because it looks like Wix is doing it in a funny way. Here we are. Right, that's class. We need an ID. Wix widget. No, that's not unique enough. That one maybe. I mean, you can see they're all of these are different blocks in the HTML. So let's look at that. And what I'll do is I'll just open up a completely different. Oh, it's on a certain page. I'm not going to be able to do that. So let's go to a new. Let's just dump it in without actually being on that page. Yeah, so that does work. So you can do that. However, that involves you digging around and sniffing around in HTML to find those little ID tags, but it is possible.
Okay.
But let's have a look why you'd want to do that. So it is nice having it all on one page, like markets here.
Yeah.
And I think you've only got a small bit of information, so that makes sense. Why would you want to take someone to a completely separate page just for a little bit of information? But it still could be worth it. So with markets, you could create a separate page where I don't know if it's relevant for markets, but you could create a separate page with a lot more maybe images on there, and that links back to this particular section. But also you have the main information that is important to people on here, and you can have a read more, or they can see you at market. Maybe it's a video of you sort of showing them around what they might expect when they come and see you at market. So tell me about, so we want to optimize this page to get found online. What do you want people to type in to find it?
So this is all my main offerings. So commissions is a big one, which is why I put it at the top, because this is that's where I can maximize income, and I have the most interesting creative challenges in a good way. So commissions, but I don't know if a lot of people use Google to find unless they typed in original artwork, nature or Bristol or something like that. I'm not sure.
They might do, yeah.
Do you think? Yeah.
Well, it could be. Let's try this first. Nature artwork. So it's a very broad term.
Yeah.
So that's, you could start with that. And in fact, what you could do is we can use something like Word Tracker to find out how many people actually search for that. Because we're not sure if that's the right keyword. Or let me change this to United Kingdom. Now, this is a free tool, but you only get so many free searches a month.
Okay.
So get rid of all this junk here. Obviously, they want you to sign up. And, if you use it a lot, maybe sign up. I will say that if you have a Google Ads account or a Google account and you can set up a free ads account, you can use Google Keyword Planner, which will allow you to do the same thing, but it's free. But this is good enough. So now this is now showing keywords that and their volume that are actually used. So nature artist, you can see there's some for that. Have we got nature artwork? Is that there? Okay, so nature artwork, we've got a volume. So this is like an average search volume, a sort of a rough guess as well, because they won't necessarily know exactly, but it gives you an idea of 271. So that's 271 searches a month on average. So I don't know if that's good or not. That seems okay. It's better than 10, which is really super low. So that's a certain number of searches. That's pretty good. But we also get lots of other, let me get rid of that, lots of other ideas that people might be searching for. So let's see what else. Nature art drawings. So I don't know if that's relevant. Could be that it could be that multiple keywords are relevant. And you've just got to find what's the top one, but I can use the others as well. Now, if it was going to be nature artwork, then are people expecting to see finished artwork, or are they expecting to see someone that they can commission?
Yeah, I think you might type in, I don't know if commission is the word that somebody would come up with, but perhaps gift or
nature artwork gift. Yeah, let's have a look at commission first. It may be, is it working? Yeah, it may be just it's too specific.
Yeah.
But it's not, those words just aren't necessarily used together. I mean, they might be. It's chances that someone will have used those words together. It's just the way it lumps all of these keywords together. It's not going to show you that. Just artwork commission. That's a bit more broad. See what comes up. I'm going to use up all my free searches. That's fine. I don't use everything else. There we go. So art commissions.
Yeah.
So that's a phrase, art commissions, that could be used. Commissioned painting. So it'd be interesting to see what people expect when they type in commissioned painting.
Yeah.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Commissioned artist. So art commissions definitely is high, but The problem is you've got high competition.
Yeah.
Which means a lot of people will be after that. But if you added on, what was it, Bristol?
Yeah, I think so.
I won't do it in here, but that really narrows it down. That localizes it. It's going to mean that you might have a chance. And I'm not saying this is the right keyword for you, but let's run it through as if it is. So let's take art commissions.
Yeah.
And I'm going to put it in here for Bristol.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see what comes up. So we've got Wendy Satchwell. Let's have a look at Wendy's site. Commission artist in Bristol. Okay, you can see they're optimizing for this particular page, but the site isn't great. I mean, you've got a picture of her and you've got to read a load of text. There's nothing else showing, your site is nice. It's showing artwork. It looks really good. You can actually get to see your artwork straight away, which is important. I mean, it's good to know. I think people who are commissioning artwork do often they want to know the person. It's part of it is to know that this person did this artwork for them. I think rather than just buying a piece where they don't know who did it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is valuable to have you on there, but I think looking at this, I mean, it's not really saying much for her artwork unless you knew Wendy,
Mm-hmm.
in which case, I don't know if she's probably a really famous artist. I don't know, but for me, I've landed on her page. She's done really well. She's at the top, but it's not saying a huge amount, which means I need to jump around. I need to start thinking about what I want to look at.
Mm-hmm.
But let's say you were to compete for that. Let's go back to offerings. What I would probably do is go back to the sort of Frank approach for SEO. Yeah. Frank, you've done well here, but actually have something like art commissions at the top as a page and have a separate page for art commissions.
Okay.
Dedicated page, which means that Google can see that page is all about art commissions. Your style and the way you make the page look is nice. So I don't think you need to change that, but I do think it would help to have a dedicated page for art commissions. And then using Word Tracker to find all those other words that are related, creating content about that. So you want to think at the top, when people are looking for art commissions and they come through to a page, show them, like basically what you've got there is good. You're showing art being produced. You're showing the type of thing you do. So people can go, yes, I like that. And then you would probably have some kind of contact button, something, a call to action, say, yes, I would like to work with you.
Mm-hmm.
But then I would go on, talk about your process, have a picture of you on there. Talk about places they can see you. So if you do like the upcoming workshops and events, I think that's good to have on there as well. Places they can come and see you and meet you. Because I think when you do an art commission, they're not going to commission you just off this website. It's unlikely.
Yeah.
They might do, but I think most people are going to go, I want this. I want to meet the artist first so they can find out where they can meet you, come along, get to know you. They might approach you about commission then, or they might come back and look at the website. It might be a longer process that they're going through. So I would potentially either turn this page into your art commissions page and optimize it for that, or make a dedicated art commissions page and have more content on it related to that. Using, once you've created the page, use text optimizer to say, what am I missing on here? But don't, and I'm sure you wouldn't do this, but don't just look at this and go, well, I've got to bung all of those words onto that page. Otherwise it's not going to work. Use your judgment, use your style to make it your own.
Yeah.
Because it's got to feel like you. When people are looking at the site, it has to be yours. Otherwise, it's just, they're not getting a feel for you. So all of the text has to be written in the way you'd write it. But it's just, if you can include a keyword and you didn't think that you would get it in there, then do try, because it does make a huge difference. I would probably like to see a video of you working as well, or talking about the process. I don't know how up for a video that you would be, but I think that could be really good.
No, it's true. I do have a few sort of commission process reels actually, but you can still link a reel
Yeah, no,
Instagram.
absolutely. Yeah, you can bring them in. I don't know if you've got a Mac, but if you, I use iMovie on a Mac, and it's really very simple editor. Or if you've got an iPhone or iPad, you can use a version of iMovie on there to make them. It works very well. Obviously, you've got the same on Samsung, Android, and PC. I just don't use those, so I don't know what apps are available. But yeah, you can take your Reels or your TikToks or wherever you've made the videos and bring them in somewhere else to edit them. I would tend to, if it's the website, make sure it's a landscape video though, not portrait.
Totally.
So yeah, a little video of that. I don't know whether it would be worth putting on pricing, that your commissions range from a certain price.
Yeah, I've had this debate with a few peer artists, because it's if you do put that range on and somebody is coming in with something that will take you a couple of months or something to create, that's going to immediately be outside of the range. So it's really hard. But I always think people consider commissions as something that they wouldn't be able to afford, but they might be. And obviously I'm not I'm maybe an emerging artist, that you could call it, so it's not unaffordable to some people, obviously. So yeah, I'm not sure about that one. It limits you as well as, yeah.
I definitely think a range could be potentially limiting. I think having I tend to start commissions from whatever it might be, could be good. And you can always nudge that up. As you get busier, more confident in the market, not necessarily with your work, but just in the market, you can just push that price up to where you feel comfortable. Because obviously you might want to do this, but I don't think you want a production line of work where you're just, I'll bang that commission out for this person, then bang this one out. At that point, you're better off. That's better for your shop. You have a version of a commission that you can use on that. This is all about people looking at it and going, actually, I can stretch to that for a gift or for themselves. But it might be that it's more that actually what they're suggesting is going to take multiple days or weeks. And so it's going to be tenfold that price. But at least you can get people having that conversation with you, and you can filter out people who are never going to want to pay anything near that. If you put, like, I start at £1,000 to do a commission, some people go, no, it's not, and that's not for me, and that's good. That's what you want. But the people who are, they'll look at that and go, yeah, fine, that's either a good deal or that's right on where I think it's going to be. And I'm sure you'll find your space there. But I think that would be good to have.
Okay, that's good to know.
But for the people who go, oh, that's a bit much, which it should be, it should be a little bit more, because you are doing something specifically for them. You should then promote your artwork on there as well. So you can not only showcase some of the commissions you've done, but the actual artwork that they can buy from you. It's a bit like you maybe want a certain percentage of your audience to be able to buy the commissions, but everyone else to buy something that is like that style. I want to be able to afford Holly's work, but I can't. Therefore, I'm going to buy this instead. I certainly feel that if you go to I'm trying to think, like an art gallery or a museum or something like that, and you see a nice book or artwork that you like, and you think, well, actually, I can't stretch to that, but you can buy a postcard. And so that's it's not exactly the same, but you're then drawing people into commission who think they can get an art commission, but actually they can't, but they love your style. So they can buy, you can sort of funnel the traffic. So you might actually get lots of shop traffic through from your art commissions page.
Yeah, that's true.
You definitely want to think about funneling people that way. So let's assume you're creating a new page for this. I would make sure that whatever your keyword is, it's featured in the main title of the page. So you've got commissions. And I think that needs to change to art commissions. Or what do we say? Artwork commission. And in Bristol as well, adding the word Bristol on there.
Okay.
If you don't want to add it into the title, the word Bristol, make sure it's added in the first paragraph or throughout the page. And just like I was saying to Frank, use that keyword throughout your copy. Talk about artwork, talk about artists, talk about commissions, talk about the style of painting. Use text optimizer. Let me just have a look at the general structure. So we've got heading 1 there, which is great, full of some span tags, but they are okay. We are still using heading 1, which is brilliant. So if you put art commissions to this page, then that would be titled up correctly. And then if I go to the top here to the title tag, you've got obviously your brand, Holly Foskett Barnes, and then offerings. So that would need to change to artist or artwork commissions. Definitely put Bristol in there, the location. And you could put Bristol, Bath and surrounding areas if you want to be cheeky.
In the slug.
Not in the slug, in the title. So
Okay.
it might be, I can't remember in Wix, but I think it's either going to be SEO title or meta title or
Okay.
title. So that's really important. These are good. I would put people's names if you can.
Yeah, I think they might have slid off.
It's funny, isn't it? Look, there's loads of space after each one.
I'm pretty sure they're there, but they're no problem. I'll update that. Yeah,
They're hidden, but yes, do put the names in. And just like I was saying to Frank, if you can sneak in their location, even if it's roughly near, I mean, you might want to check with them, but I definitely think that's worth doing. Talk about your process. I think people want to see how you work. So talk about that. Talk about your inspiration. And I think you can go into that quite a lot. I think this is good. So where can you see me, or where can you meet me? I think would be really good. And so this is where you can talk about your workshops and events, or come to the market. I think that's great, because that would be a quite good call to action, actually.
Yeah,
they can just get in touch. Collaborations. See, I think all of this is actually relevant on this page.
Okay.
So it's just that you might need to move some of them off this page, because you might want them on other pages as well. But I do think they're still relevant on here.
So is it just collaboration commissions that you think I should make into a individual page?
If that's what you want to focus on, then yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's either you make this page art commissions and you focus on that, or you make a new page for art commissions, or you keep this page as art commissions and make a new page for all the others. But I think, for me, if you're wanting to focus on the art commissions, then I would convert this page. And then you've got stockists. I don't think that hurts to have on there. You know, we're talking about people wanting to buy your pre-made artwork. I think that could be an area where that goes.
Yeah.
Obviously, Text Optimizer is going to give you lots of other ideas. Should we give it a try and see what you're currently getting?
Yeah.
Insufficient. Sorry, it says 1%.
Wow.
That's. But hey, you look at that. There's only room for improvement. Now, I think the problem with that, the reason it's not short, is because you talk about lots of different stuff.
Okay.
The page isn't so dominant in one particular area, and I think if you were to do those things and make it more dominant artist commission, Bristol, I think that would help it a lot.
Yeah, fair enough.
We are at least talking about the right sort of ballparks. But it would be good for one of these to say commissions, if that's possible, artwork commissions.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's possible. Still gives you lots of other things you can talk about, but you know, they might not be relevant to you. It's saying, all these are relevant to what you're talking about. So I think the key thing is ignore that for the moment. Create your artist commission focus page.
Yeah.
And then once you've filled that out, you've got a nice video on there, you've got pictures of you on there, you're talking about your process, your inspiration, you've got some idea of cost, but I think the cost range is not good, just the base price or the from price, because we do that with our websites can range from, and they go up. I mean, they could be really big, but if I put that range, I know someone's going to come up and want a bigger project that's going to go outside that range, so we tend to have it's from a certain price.
Sure.
But the style of what you've got here looks nice. I think it fits. I wouldn't change anything really with the style. It's just text. The only thing I'd possibly look at is the size of the font here. It looks very small. I know I'm on a big screen, but let me put it on a slightly smaller screen here. Sure. This feels a little bit too small for me. And while it looks neat, it's harder to read when it's small. People have to focus a lot more. So maybe see if you can just push the size up a little bit.
Yeah, of course.
And then that's good. So that's this page looked at. We then want to make sure this page, let's call it the artist commission page now, has lots of links to it. So if we go through to the home page, we want to make sure that you're linking to it from this page somewhere, preferably quite high up.
Yeah.
Probably having like, I don't know, maybe if you're talking about your commissions in here, then you want to link to it through that.
Yeah.
And then maybe you want some boxes further down. So you say, I do, what will your key areas be?
Yeah, yeah.
So it would definitely be, well, things that people want to know, see quite quickly, which are going to be something like, well, your commissions, it's going to be where I can find you, and it's going to be the shop. So they could be 3 boxes you could have somewhere on here. Oh, yeah. So this is what they're meant to look like.
Yeah.
So that would be a good way of linking things through. And then from the shop, you could potentially link them in there as well. So on each of these, you could mention it somewhere that, if you like this but want it slightly changed, I can make a commission for you.
Sure.
I mean, I don't know if it's possible, just an idea. Would you overprint on top of your prints? Would you like over?
No.
You would no. So it would just be a custom from scratch.
Yeah, customs. That's not really my brand. It's quite fussy and with printing costs and everything. Just to do a one-off is quite a lot.
Yeah. But someone might love this, but they want a different tweak. Well, that's fine. They go over to the art commissions page.
Yeah.
So effectively what we want is a nice spider sat in the middle of the web. Your spider is the artist commission page. And then all of the web is the other parts of your website linking through to it.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. That
obviously you can use similar ideas for your these paintings these prints that you do, is to create pages for those specifically, those areas. So when someone's looking for a companion planting ideas, that could be something, a content that you produce. Just finally, to finish off, do you have a blog on here or any sort of regular content you produce?
It's on my list to do resources pages. On my home, it's only my Insta feed at the bottom, which is the thing that sort of refreshes.
Which is nice.
Yeah, that's
some lovely photos on there.
Thank you.
Yeah, and this is a really good way of getting people into your site. So yeah, that's the only thing I'd add, is if you can create some kind of resources, that gives you the ability to talk about more detail, talk about specific things, and then link through to those pages.
Brilliant.
We've run out of time, but Holly, do you have any other questions? Anything else you'd like to know?
No, that's plenty. Thank you so much.
Has that been helpful?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you, guys. That's been really good. I've enjoyed, and actually there is a connection between you two, obviously painting, but you've got different palettes and different things that you're painting, and one in detail or macro, but it's great to have you both on. So obviously everyone can catch this on our website. We're going to make it free to everyone so they can have a look through. Feel free to share it online, guys, as well, when it goes live, which should be before Wednesday next week. So just to sign off, we're here every Friday at 10 a.m, usually an hour, although a little bit over this time. We cover everything in marketing, strategy, social, definitely SEO. It's been an SEO month, hasn't it, Claire, this one? Video and more, really. If you've got something exciting to share, do get in contact with us. Email support@ratherinventive.com. I'm really interested to know about your successes, your failures, whatever you're doing in marketing. I want to share it with people. Claire, what's coming up next?
So next Friday, we'll be going through how the benefits of sending video emails with Loom. So you'll be doing a demonstration of that and sharing the benefits.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one, actually. It's a really useful tool that I've been making a lot of use out of in terms of sending proposals. So I will tell you all next week on that. If you are interested in inviting anyone along to these, or you want to share the videos, feel free to do so. just share the Zoom link, just let us know so that we can welcome on whoever's coming. And don't forget, you can now watch all of these previous webinars over the almost last 4 years worth. I don't know how many there are, 64. They are all on our website. So if you're a member, you can access all of those. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all next week. Bye-bye.